Hi everyone, this is IntuitiveEdge. Welcome once again to my channel. Thanks for joining me. So this is going to be a little bit of a different video. I want to talk a little bit about the Idaho4 case and also tie it in with some other things that I think is going to be hopefully interesting to you, my audience. But I want to share some things about intuition and some things that I'm learning and have learned. And anyway, I hope that you will follow along with me, and I hope this is useful. Okay. So as you know, if you've been following the case, there's been a lot of speculation and a lot going on, and a lot of people are rightly concerned about this murder case near the University of Idaho to 4 college students that were brutally killed in November. And this case has gotten national attention, probably worldwide attention, people wanting to find who did this and justice for the families and their victims. Now, there have been a lot of psychics that have weighed in on this, myself included. But I want to kind of talk about this for a moment because I think this is really key. When a psychic goes in and intuits into a situation to get answers or information, any psychic will tell you that it's best if they go in cold. Like they don't have a heads up, they don't know a whole lot about the case. They want as little information as possible, because when they're intuiting in the mind is not the brain. The mind and the brain are separate. And the mind is where the intuition is, and I don't know how to describe it, but it's not, the brain is like the logical thinking mechanism, and our brains are designed to think logically, try to make sense of things. When something doesn't add up, we try to figure it out. That's how we're wired and how we're built. So when someone is going within and seeking intuition for answers out from the intuition side is connected to the universe, the consciousness, the greater awareness of all. That's where we're truly connected, okay? And that's different than the brain. So when an intuitive goes within and comes up with an idea or a scenario, or I'm seeing the color purple, or I'm feeling this or that, those go into a different process. And the trick is, and the reason why so many psychics want to go into something cold, is because once we get information coming into our frontal cortex and our brain, and we're getting information coming in, that sometimes our logic wants to override our intuition. So any good psychic will go into a case cold and not want to know too much. And it's very easy for intuitives to try to figure something out, especially with a case that is this egregious, this challenging. People want to see justice in this case. And I'm seeing a lot of psychics that, how do I want to say this? When a psychic gets their information, it's very easy for the brain to try to want to figure it out. And I think sometimes that can trip people up because we don't see the whole picture or have all of the answers. And so when something comes out, it's like, oh, is this it? Is this what I was seeing? And we try to make sense of all of the little pieces of information coming in. Is this what I was sensing? Is this what I was sensing? And then we try to dial into that. Was that what I was sensing? And then we try to push our, I'm saying we, okay? I'm generalizing, but I've been seeing this happen. And I think it's something that is understandable. And I think even myself included. I mean, I'm not immune. As psychics, we want to get right information. And in this case, we want to see justice happen and to see that this person is taken off the streets so they don't kill again. Because this obviously is someone who's very dangerous to society. And so I think there's a lot of impetus, a lot of energy on finding the perpetrator, and that could cause some people to try to overthink their intuition and make sense of what pieces they're getting intuitively. Now, I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not singling anyone out, because I would have to put myself in that basket. Because when I initially did a video I recorded it on the 20th of November, which was just about a week, maybe 7 days or so after this had happened. And I didn't get around to uploading it because I needed to edit it, and then we were heading into the Thanksgiving holiday, and it just kind of got pushed back, and then finally, after Thanksgiving, I cleaned the video up and put it out. And it seems like right after that, within a couple of weeks of this happening, it was gaining more and more attention. And all of a sudden, it exploded on the internet, especially on YouTube and elsewhere. People were going crazy over this case. There were internet sleuths coming out of the woodwork. Channels I'd never heard of were popping up in my feed, talking about this case. And it's understandable because of the nature of the crime and the fear that people have wanting to find this person, right? Well, I put out my video and I saw, you can go back and watch it. At the first half of the video, I'm talking about the shooting in Colorado because that had just happened. And then I talk about the Idaho case. And so I saw what I saw, and I'll describe it in a moment here again. But right after that, because I originally saw a blue car, I was focused in on a blue car coming up to an intersection. This is what I was seeing in my mind's eye. And then I was seeing a man crossing the crosswalk, making eye contact with the driver or someone in the car. And there was like this exchange. And I felt like there was something before that had happened, but also just like this anger coming from the person crossing the crosswalk. And I felt like I felt like this person was crossing the walk and made this connection with the blue car, and then got to the other side. The car went forward, and then this person made a note of where the car was going and followed on foot. That's what I got, okay? That's what I was seeing. I was sensing that the person was wearing like a gray hooded sweatshirt. So, like a week later, the grub truck video just splashed onto the scene, and everyone's talking about it. And I'm looking and I'm going, oh my gosh, is that the guy I saw? And so immediately I'm in my brain space. My brain is trying to figure it out. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, I did see, the guy in the hoodie video, the hoodie guy in the grub truck video had a gray hooded sweatshirt, but he had like a brown coat over it too. I didn't see that initially. I just saw a gray sweatshirt. But I thought, well, this must be what I was seeing. And so my brain is trying to rationalize my intuitive side to make it make sense. And this is what I want to talk about, is how the mind, which is our intuition, not the brain, how the mind, mind, works. And I think I might have fallen into a trap, because here I am trying to figure it out and go, this must have been what I was seeing. I don't know how the blue car fits. And then the thing with the white Elantra came out, and I'm like, well, I saw a blue car. And then everybody was talking about Kaylee and Maddie. And I'm like, okay, were Kaylee and Maddie in this blue car? So, because everybody was going, oh, Kaylee was the target. Kaylee was the target. So then everybody went on that tangent. And so I'm trying to figure it out in my brain. I've seen a lot of other internet tarot readers and psychics kind of start to do the same thing. And again, I'm not singling anyone out, not blaming anyone, not saying that they're bad or wrong or anything like that. I'm saying we're all human, okay? We're all human. We want justice in this case. We want to say, oh my gosh, it's this, and have ourselves be right. People like to be right about things. And I think that there's a lot of us out there that are going down these rabbit trails that are being thrown out into the news and saying, okay, is this, will my intuition take me down this trail? Is there something I can pull? And I think I've been seeing some people kind of really go out on a limb chasing after these breadcrumbs of evidence that we don't really know is the truth or not. But people are really trying to like pigeonhole and push and see, does it fit? Does it fit? Does it fit? And I wanted to encourage people out there to maybe a little bit about how intuition actually works. Think of it like a dream state. Have you ever woken up and you just come out of a dream and you go to remember your dream and it's like, I just had this dream and I can't remember it. I'm trying to remember it. It was this, it was that, and now I can't remember it. And the more you try to remember it, the more you activate your brain, the more you lose what the dream was and can't remember it. Have you ever had that happen? I have. I know other people have too. Intuition is a lot like that. It comes to you outside of the thinking capacity. It really is outside of the logical mind that wants to figure things out. It comes and sometimes it's fleeting and it just goes as quick. And if you go to look at it, it's gone. It could be just a nudge or a whisper or a this, and then the brain goes, what do I do with that? And then it's gone. That's a lot how intuition works. It's very subtle. Sometimes you can get just a fleeting glimpse. And if you're not paying attention, you miss it. If it's important enough for your soul to beat you over the head with a 2x4 to get you to pay attention to it, that does happen too. But again, it's outside of the logical mind, the logical brain that's trying to make it make sense. A lot of times intuitive things don't make sense. Any psychic who's worked on murder cases or worked on high profile cases will tell you that they get things that nobody knows and doesn't initially fit the evidence that is being in the newspapers or being talked about in the news. Sometimes they get things that only the police will know. That's when you know that's a good psychic. And if a psychic tries to grab onto things coming out in the news and pull it in and make it make sense, that could be a trap. It could be a red herring. And I think that's been happening to a lot of really good psychics out there. And this is not to disparage anyone. This is just how we're built. People want to find justice in this case. And sometimes it can cause us to look places that are just rabbit trails. They don't lead anywhere. So I hope that made a little bit of sense. I think I want to stick with my original video that I put out because, again, I put that video out before the big splash of all of the sleuths and all of the other people out there going, this happened, this happened, this happened. And I want to stick with what I originally got. And that was, I saw this exchange. Somebody was angry at someone in the blue car. Now, it did come out later that the blue car belonged to Xana. And with everybody focused on Kaylee, Jack, all of this, there's a new trail of thought coming out that maybe Ethan was the target. Maybe Ethan was driving Xana's car that night. Maybe. But I saw the blue car, and I felt like the victims were in that car. An angry person crossing the crosswalk, made eye contact, might have even hit their hood. That's kind of what I saw, like, I know you, nah. And that person was angry at whoever was in the blue car. That's what I saw. I'm going to stick with that, because that came to me without any knowledge or anything about the case. It was just barely starting to come on the scene when I did my video. So I'm going to stick with that. All of the speculation about the hoodie guy and all of that, yeah, some of that stuff really looked a little bit weird. And I have to say, there's some people that they better have really good alibis, because it doesn't look that good. But again, as I said in a previous video, another video, somebody could look as guilty as sin and not be the perpetrator. So we have to follow the evidence. And intuition and psychics are so valuable to police cases, to police work. There are lots of reputable psychics that work with police on a regular basis. And I'm sure that most of them will insist that they don't know anything going into the case and that they be left out of the loop. Don't tell me anything. Don't tell me anything. I watched a video, not a video, it was a show on television a while back. I don't remember, psychic investigations or something. And a very well-known psychic was working, it was early on, it was like in the 80s, and this is before psychics were really trusted. Most psychics back then, their reputation was like, okay, you're a little loony. But she saw clearly a murder, and she saw things that only the police knew. One policeman ended up trusting her, and he took her to the crime scene, and she said, don't tell me anything. Do not tell me a word. I don't want to know. And then she told the police investigator, this is what I see. And it matched up, and it took him several months, because she could see the car, and she got like just a partial license plate number. She saw the guy, she saw the weapon he used, everything. And but that is how psychics work best, if they don't know anything. So I'm concerned that with all of the information coming out on YouTube and in the news, that it could be influencing people to want to make something make sense. And it's not the right information. It's not leading to the right person. So, anyway, I hope you were able to stick with me on all of that and understand where I was going with it. Just to encourage people, yes, intuition is vital, and it's invaluable. Psychics help solve cases all the time. Psychics help find missing persons. That happens all the time. It's when we get too much information and then try to pigeonhole it or force that square peg in a round hole that we run into trouble. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that you enjoyed this information. Thank you for listening. And hopefully whoever did do this will be caught. I'm going to refrain, I think, from this point out. Unless I get something completely brand new, I'm probably not going to speak anymore on this case, because I think there's too much information out there already, and the jury pool is tainted, so to speak. and I don't think the information is going to be pure. So I'm just going to stick to what I said in the beginning and leave it at that. So thanks for listening, everybody. Take care. Bye for now.